talking video games. We're talking video games, but you know what? We talk about whatever topic that is just getting insanely attacked for whatever reason due to this new crazy psycho-Puritan mentality that's going around. And hello everyone, I am Mecha11 your favorite YouTube harpy. Sometimes I talk about video games over here. I want to talk more about video games, but this article comes to us from our good friends at Bounding Into Comics. Why are there a bunch of scantily clad women on screen? Well, why not? Why wouldn't there be? I don't have a problem with it, and hopefully nobody else has a problem with it, except apparently Mortal Kombat 11, and yeah, so there's a petition created to have NetherRealm's Mortal Kombat 11 feature more Mortal Kombat 9 costumes for female fighters. Problem is, when you have to kind of start a petition, I think what's going to happen is that they're going to end up including DLC that you have to pay for. And that's where they start getting into like more of the extortion things. You know, they're gonna cave politically and cover up the female fighters in a video game, which I don't know about you guys, but was the start, you know, I don't know how old you guys are, but I remember in the 90s when this started being like the big game where people are like, oh my god, we need to start rating video games. We need to have a rating system in place, right? And that was because of this game, Mortal Kombat. I think it was just the first two were out at the time. So now to be going and being concerned about covering up your fighters when you can literally reach into somebody's, you know, you can reach into somebody's head, pull out their entire skull and spinal column, right? And this was 20 years ago in the video game, 30 years ago in the video game. Since then, it's become more brutal, more violent, more graphic. You know, they have more that slow motion kind of X-ray bone snapping stuff that they do now in a lot of these. It's brutal, and they're complaining and they're worried that we're gonna see too much skin in a video game where you can basically break somebody's jaw and see it in slow motion. You know. This shit, right? I don't get to talk a lot about games on my channel, but when I do, it's always going to be something where I gotta defend the boobs, right? We gotta defend the boobs. Because this is fantasy. This is not real. This is having the chance to and like to interact in ways that you would never do in real life, right? People who play Mortal Kombat 99.99% of the time are never ever going to actually punch somebody or reach into their throat and rip out their spinal column. That's not going to happen, right? Video games aren't real, and most people know that. Let's just read this article. Let's read the article. I've ranted for like 3 minutes already. A petition has been created to have NetherRealm's Mortal Kombat 11 feature more Mortal Kombat 9 costumes for female fighters. Since previews of Jade and other female combatants, I don't know. I think I like the word combatants better. I don't know. Came to light at the beginning of this year, it's been apparent that NetherRealm Studios had decided to take a much more conservative approach to how they showcase their female fighters, all in the name of realism. All right, what is this? You know, realism's fine. Realism's fine. But this is fantasy. This is a fantasy franchise. There's games like Senran Kagura that I play, or you know, Dead or Alive, which you want to look at girls jiggle. You want to look at, same thing with Soul Calibur. You want the fan service, right? I don't think we need that. I think if that's an option for the clothing, then you know that's fine. But to kind of have this as sort of a default thing where, oh yeah, we're just gonna cover them all up. We want it to be realistic. It's fine because they've gotten more realistically brutal killings. But to go out of their way to desexualize their characters, it's just bullshit. We don't need less sexy characters in video games. This is our escapism. This is fantasy. We already got that shit on screen with Captain Marvel and her flat ass that they needed a butt double, by the way, to just to make look halfway decent, just to make sexually appealing. Because guess what? There's a reason why I wear low-cut shirts on stream. It's so that you guys have something to look at while I'm ranting and raving at you if you don't want to just listen to what I have to say. There's a reason why I throw on makeup. There's a reason why women try and look presentable. There's a reason why when you go to work, you don't roll out of bed in your pajamas, right? People want to see more cleaned up, polished stuff, especially in fantasy, especially in their escapism. They're just desexualizing their video game characters, and it's bullshit. You don't need to do that. Of course, there is good news that we still have video games out there like Senran Kagura, which are basically girls knocking each other's clothes off, basically knocking them, beating them. Their fatality is moves like, oh, let's stick them through a billboard with their backside hanging out and they're naked, or let's finish them by throwing them face down into a field with their ass end up, presenting like a mandrel unclothed. You know, just things like that. And that's Senran Kagura. Those are the video games I like playing because they're ridiculous, because they're over the top. And I want a ridiculous over the top video game from time to time. Do they not like money, or are they just trying to extort more money out of you? Like, if let's say if you do buy this and you want these costumes, this is probably just going to be another DLC package that they can just try and rake you guys over the, just seriously. They're going to charge money for these sexy costumes because they always do. I'm kind of getting tired about the video game industry in general, with the microtransactions, with the DLC costumes, with all of this stuff, and now we're kind of going into this censorship territory again. We're in this conservative swing for a while, and it's getting annoying. It's getting to the point where these products are going to fail, and then we'll have like a bounce back, hopefully. Hopefully, if these franchises don't completely collapse in on themselves, and we all have to kind of come out of the woodwork and do indie game development, and indie films, and indie books, and indie comic books especially. We kind of are having to do that anyway because the mainstream are not giving us what we want to spend money on. I personally, I'm not the best at Mortal Kombat. I've played them from time to time. I'm more comfortable with Soul Calibur, with that sort of fighting game style. And the costumes are great. You got characters like Ivy who are just bursting out of her costume when she does her little dominatrixy style moves. I've done videos about Soul Calibur's costumes being too controversial. This stuff is just annoying that we keep seeing this. Why do we have to be in such a conservative downswing? When did sex become offensive? When did sex become this thing that, oh no, we can't see anything sexy. We can't talk to another human being because, oh no, they're going to accuse us of sexual harassment. Guess what? When people flirt with me, I will probably flirt back or not even be aware of it half the time. Doesn't mean anything, right? I'm not going to take somebody to court. I'm not going to do any of that. I might not be receptive 100% of the time. I might not be aware of it. But that's how people are. People kind of need that basic human interaction. Because this is one step away from just pulling the wool over somebody's eyes, like literally, and saying, no, you can't even look at other people. You can't even talk to other people. You can't look at that person because they don't have the same gender as you. And yeah, I get it. I would probably not want to fight dolled up and in high heel boots and with my tits hanging out. Or maybe I would. If I had the body, I'd be wearing these costumes. I wouldn't want to be wearing a stupid baseball cap and a jacket if I was fighting. I don't know, because this is fantasy. This is sexier. This is more fun to me. This is more the game I want to play. Because when you look at the difference in the pictures, like, this looks like a Marvel movie that I don't want to watch. And this is like, ooh, hello, ladies. It's something to look at. Your eye bounces throughout the content here, The costumes are very, very revealing. But that's what we want, and especially when your demographic is mostly males, right? And there's a lot of girls who play video games. I'm one of them. But still, at the end of the day, your demographic is mostly males. So you're going to need to have this whole... you need to give them something that they want to see. And a lot of the times people are at Mortal Kombat, they're playing Mortal Kombat for the fatalities. They're playing it for the cool death scenes, for the cool moves, for the cool, for the brutal stuff. But you also have to remember that the majority of your audience is males, and they're gonna want something to look at too, right? It doesn't mean that they're anti-women if they rip their spines out. No, they do it to the other guys too, right? You'll have Sub-Zero and Johnny Cage up against each other too. Is his name Johnny Cage? God, it's been so long since I played a Mortal Kombat game, probably like 3 or 4 years. The one with Freddy was the last one I played, and I'm terrible at Mortal Kombat, by the way. But I will defend anybody's rights to have it as brutal, gory, sexy. Why don't we have an unclothed patch for them? Why don't you have the option of saying, you know what? Everybody fight naked. We'll fight gladiator style. We'll fight Olympic style, right? Why can't we do that? Oh, because we're in today's modern day Puritan society, which you can't say anything or do anything. You have to use the right gender pronoun or else you get banned from Twitter, apparently. So tell me what you guys think. I am Mecha1142, P.O. Box 1566, Loveland, Colorado 80539. I'll link these articles in the description if you do want to sign the petition to get sexier costumes, but I'll warn you guys, if they do that, they'll probably just charge you for them as DLC. I do not have a very optimistic and hopeful sort of faith, I guess, in the gaming industry. But thank you guys so much for watching. Just a little quickie extra video before we get into the heavy news topics of the week. I will see you guys on the next video or live stream. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!